Hey, welcome back to the Astrology of Things. I'm your host and professional astrologer, Sheena, and today is Friday, August 13th, and it is 5:03 p.m. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk about starting your very own astrology journal. Now, an astrology journal is something that I think anyone who is looking to be an astrologer, or anyone who is just generally interested in astrology, should do and should start. It's really important for us to always be aware of the energetic signatures of the time. So that's why I'm even noting at the beginning of my videos what time it is, because it's really time is of the essence, one, but time is really important when we're looking at horoscopes, right? And your astrology journal is something you need to start as soon as possible. And I'm gonna give you a few pointers to help you get started. But I did want to share some of the benefits of starting an astrology journal. First is, I already mentioned that it allows you and gives you the opportunity to be aware of the energy of the day. It essentially opens your awareness to the astrological weather, and keeping in mind the transits that are occurring during the day, any important aspects that the planets are making to one another during the day, any important changes in signs that the planets are making, or changes in direction that the planets are making is really important to know. Knowing that information is key. Is the most key part to this journaling approach to astrology. Another benefit to this astrology journaling is that it allows you to observe through your own perspective the astrological energies that are occurring throughout the day. Oftentimes as astrologers, we are observing and reading and interpreting and analyzing other people's charts, right? We're always, kind of looking outward, and having an astrology journal allows us to look inward, allows us to be observant and aware of the astrological signatures that appear in our own lives. And observing that makes us even more stronger astrologers. Throughout the journaling process, you'll run into, or you'll come across epiphanies, things that you never even thought about, or had an awareness of. Writing in your astrology journal will allow you to start naturally unfolding astrology through experience. And as they say, experience is the best teacher, right? And through being aware of the energetic signatures throughout the day and over time, as you continue to journal every day, you'll come across and understand different astrological patterns, and you'll start to see themes, and you'll start to be able to develop your own hypotheses on astrology, and you'll start to identify areas in astrology that you're interested in, and areas in astrology that you might want to focus on and dig deeper into and do research projects on. There's so many benefits to creating this astrology journal and being consistent every day, right? And of course, another pro to this astrology journal is that you're going to become better at analyzing a general horoscope. You'll become much more stronger. You'll be able to analyze a chart in a much deeper way. You'll be able to improve your synthesis in chart interpretation, which is one of the hardest things to do when you're learning astrology. The hardest thing is to learn how to synthesize the chart. It's hard to learn how to summarize the themes that are occurring. And so that's another benefit to starting your astrology journal. Now, I'm going to give you some pointers on starting your astrology journal. And the first thing is that you need a journal to write with, right? Or write on. You need a journal and a writing utensil. Now, I don't have a special journal. This is actually my journal right here. Because when I started it, actually, I wasn't thinking anything of it, right? I just had a notebook and I was like, I should start, journaling just about the astrology that I observe every day. So yeah, this is not a good example, but I would suggest that you buy a journal that is unique. A journal that is very special to you, because the contents in this journal is going to be very, very important in your astrological journey, right? So get a journal that looks fancy, or get a journal that you can actually adorn and decorate in any way that you want to. You want this journal to be a very special and sacred place for you to record your astrological analysis and observations every day. And so I think that's really important. Another thing is you need to get a special pen for your journal, right? Get a pen, a pencil, marker, whatever floats your boat. Get some sort of writing utensil or writing utensils that are specific to your journal. Again, I just want to reiterate, just making sure that the tools that we're using, we're treating them in a special way, and we're giving these tools a proper special place in our space and in our lives, okay? When you start, the first day that you start your astrology journal, I want you to write the specific time that you started it. Write down the time, write down the first time that you write down any marking on your journal. I don't care if it's you just writing your name and the title of the journal. Be sure to take down the date and time, and of course your location of when you're starting to write in this journal, because I think capturing this moment is very, very symbolic for you, and you'll be able to cast a horoscope about your astrology journal. Print out, calculate the horoscope for your astrology journal, the time that you started it, and print it out and put it in the front of your journal as a reminder of you starting this journaling process, okay? And each time, well, I should say this would be the most significant, of course, but each time you start a new journal, you should calculate a new horoscope for that journal. What is important to note every day in your astrology journal, familiarize yourself with the energy of the day in the morning. So as you're going throughout your day, you're observing this energy throughout the day, right? And so you're able to, pick out and see specific things. Instead of reflecting back on the day, you don't want to come to your journal at night and then look up what the energy was for the day, because you would have missed a lot of information and connections and correlations that would have happened if you knew that, oh, Venus entered Virgo today, or Mars entered Leo today, right? So it's important to know that information in the morning. But when you are capturing your reflections from that day, it's important to just write down the time that you actually started writing. So for each journal entry, you're going to write your date. You're going to write the time that you started journaling on that day. But the energy overview should be captured for the same time every day. So for example, let's say it's July 12th of 2021. You want to capture the energy of that day starting from 6 o'clock in the morning. You don't have to be up at 6 a.m. So if you get up at 8 a.m., you would still write in your journal, or you would capture the transits, the important aspects, and any energetic changes that happen or that will happen throughout that day at 6 a.m. And that's a different time than the time that I want you to write down when you start each journal entry. And feel free to, change this as you go. I know people have their own preferences, but this was just some observations that I made on my, from when I was doing my journal. So write down any planetary changes in energy. So write down when Mercury is entering Pisces and write down the time that is happening. Write down when the sun is going to enter Leo and the time. That's a summary of that you should write down. And then as you're journaling that night or evening or whatever, you're writing down your observations. Some days you might not have any. Some days it'll be harder to observe any energetic changes that happen. So be gentle with yourself, of course, and if it doesn't come out naturally, don't force yourself. This should be a fun process. It shouldn't be torture, right? And so as you go throughout this process, you're gonna come across a lot of epiphanies, astrological epiphanies and observations that are unique to you. And these aren't things that you'll read in a book. Well, maybe you'll put your own astrological observations in a book, but I'm gonna go turn on the light. All right, I'm back. Hopefully the lighting is a little bit better. I was getting really hard to see, especially with this dark background that I have here. So yeah, I was saying that you'll have a ton of epiphanies that you'll walk away from on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. And it will really inspire you to keep going. It's so fun it's so fun and amazing to just observe this energy, right, as it occurs, and to be able to capture it, in your journal is so empowering and important as an astrologer. Okay, so there are tons of things that will just come into your awareness that you never have observed. Yeah, there will be tons of things that just come into your awareness that you have not even, things that you just haven't observed or even realized. So I'm going to share just some observations that I made as I was going through my journaling process. So from, my own journaling process, this started leading me down a path where I was wondering about the astrological correlations to dreams, and started thinking, how can we start to interpret dreams from an astrological perspective, right? So I was wondering, is astrological energy applicable to the dream world? And I'd say yes, it is, through my own observations. And this is like a research path that I see that I could go down. And that's something that I wasn't aware of, or something that I didn't think of prior to my journaling process, right? And so, as I was saying earlier, like, as you're journaling, you're going to start thinking about different ways of which astrology is happening in your everyday experience, but also you're going to start to see how you can develop the astrological discipline in general. There's so many areas in life that astrology hasn't been explored through. And so it's really important as astrologers to be able to find our own perspective and approach on astrology, and be able to share that with others and teach others, how we see it through our own lens. So that's just another example. All right, so I think that's just about all I had for you today about starting your own astrology journal. So I'm really interested to see if any of you have already done so, and if you've learned anything from your own experience. But I think it's really important to do this consistently, just every day, at least for 3 months, to see how it impacts and changes your awareness and perspective of astrology. All right, so I hope you learned something new, and I hope you try it. If you haven't already started your astrology journal. If you like this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and also hit the bell notification. All right, until next time, I'll see you guys later.